So from this speaker, I have learned that there is so much more to sales than what I've ever been exposed to before. And so you really need to listen to this all the way to the end because this guy is full of great information and great ways to organize your sales presentation. All right, remember, watch it all the way to the end. So, all right, Giants, welcome back. So, today's guest is Steve Brossman. Hi, Steve, how are you?
I'm excited. I'm really cool and keen to be sharing some stuff with your great people and loving that you're calling them giants.
Yeah, they are giants. They're giants in their communities and in their homes and in their world. So, can you tell our speakers who you are and what you do?
Yeah, as you could probably tell from now, I am an Aussie. I'm coming here from down under. And for the last 25 years, I've been helping business owners, whether they're solopreneurs, right through to larger enterprise organizations, 8, 9, 10-figure businesses. But the key aspect that I've been working with them on is helping them stand out in their niche, become the go-to business or person, and to be able to really connect with the people and have them running to them asking to buy. I'm not into the pushy sales, etc., but it is all about sales. If you don't sell, you don't eat, and if you don't sell, you don't serve. So through today's chat conversation, I'm going to be sprinkling a whole range of different things. And just letting you know, I do come from a practical background, not a theory background. In 1983, I opened up my first business. It was a health club. Kept it for 10 years. During that time, I set up a kids program. I franchised that into 5 countries. I set up a weight loss program. Yeah, I franchised that into 2 countries. Later on, invented and marketed, manufactured and distributed. So I've got some stuff all along the supply chain on that, and we ended up selling 4 million into 26 countries. So coming from hey, I've done it to helping people do it is the background. So as we get into things, particularly the last 5 years, I've been working with a number of high-level neuroscience and human behavior research companies. So when I say that something's proven, it's not because I think it is or I've read that it is. I've worked with companies that have actually done it. Some of the things they've done 17,000 reviews of sales calls and presentations and things like that. So that's the depth that they've gone to. So I might throw it away as a throwaway line, or this has been proven. Just know that there's a bit of science behind it. So you're getting the mix of some practical experience and some real down to earth and high level research. So that's enough about me. I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm in your hands.
All right. All right, so we're talking to local businesses. Where do you think they should look at their business in your eyes?
Yeah, and I'll give you some context, is one of the clients that I've been working with has been working at the highest level in building bots and agents, etc. He's worked with, well, previously working with 3 of the former high-level executives of Microsoft, reportable only to Mr. Gates at the time. And they've built some pretty big stuff, and I've helped them sell to some very large car manufacturing companies. But what that's done is it's allowed me the insight as to what's coming down the pipeline. What's coming down the pipeline in AI, and it's big, but it's also scary. That's, I guess, the bad news. The good news is people still like dealing with people. Yeah, despite all the AI and the humanization of all the bots, etc. And I know you guys are starting to get some great experience. I'm not anti-AI. You leverage AI to make you more human. You leverage AI to make you more efficient. Don't hide behind it because the AI tsunami is coming. And those who hide behind AI and just let it do all the stuff and takes the human out of it, you're going to get washed away. Those who stand up and leverage it and become more human, then that's the biggest thing. So 94.5% of people, when surveyed, still prefer to deal human to human. So in the chat that we're going to have today, one of the big things is how do we infuse what we call the human leverage factor into what it is that you do, and how you can best serve your people and stand out above the others.
All right, well, let's take that road.
Yeah, sure. So one of the biggest things, and I was working with a company, and they were basically selling glass balustrades and glass pool fencings. They were selling boxes of stuff. They weren't the biggest. They weren't the big box warehouse hardware supermarkets, but they were competing against them. So when you're selling box to box, basically we call that the brown box syndrome. They don't know what's inside the box. They don't know who you are compared to anybody else until they unwrap it. So we're going to create you as the leader, the in your marketplace. And it depends on what your services are. You may have a unique way of doing things. And I'll share another one with you shortly. So what we did with them is we more humanized the journey. So like a typical service provider, they'll have a website and somebody would click on the website. Normally they'd fill in some information or book a call and ask for a quote. Now that's everybody. And while they're clicking on your link, don't think that you're the only link they're clicking on. They're clicking on this link and then this link and then this link. During COVID, the number of searches per person for a service went up from 4 to 13.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, so instead of clicking on four other people, they were sitting around thinking, well, I'm going to click on this one too, and I'm going to click on this one too. So how do you stand out if they're going to click on you and let's just say five others?
Mhm.
One of the first things, and the big thing to do is not fall into the trap of having a fake video, an obvious AI video answer. It's you that they want to deal with, and if you can get you in there, and if you want to write something down, it is your imperfections that will highlight your authenticity. So be you, be real, have a few stumbles, scratch your head. It doesn't matter. Just say, hey, yeah, have a cup of coffee. Drink a cup of coffee while you're talking and say, hey, great to see you click through. I see you're looking at this, this, and this. One of my fantastic teams is going to be with you in a minute. They're going to be answering your questions, and we're going to be able to get you the best quote, the best deal, so we can build whatever it is you want to do or answer whatever it is that you want to do. So the first thing is, how do you create a relationship with somebody before they really do get to talk with you? Now, I've been sending video emails for, well, when I used to send them, we filmed them in a little digital camera. That was before phones were
Yeah.
taking them. We would attach them to an email. It was a dial-up connection, and it was like a 2 or 3 megabyte video, which we we're really excited about. And we would see it go tick, 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 tick. Oh, it's gone. And it would go through. When people book in for a call with me, generally they'll get a video, whether it's, hey, that was great to see you. I'm looking forward to having a chat. I've had a look at your website, had a look at your LinkedIn profile, got some fantastic ideas. I can't wait to have a chat with you. Those sorts of things, would you believe it, that within 7 years of doing that, the last 7 years of using a program to send those out, I've had three not turn up for a call.
Well, that's
Now,
a
some people
great
get three per
number.
week. Some people
Yeah.
get three per day. Because I get them excited about having the discussion with you, then they're looking forward to it. It's like, wow, this person is really going to deliver some fantastic thing for me. So the first thing is, as soon as possible, now if you can pick up the phone and give them a call straight back, that would be great. But if you can send them a quick video, whether it's to their email or whether it's now to their phone, you can set all that up because you're learning all the tech to be able to do that. That would be the first thing, is to really stand out. Now, the other thing is, who are you compared to the other people? Now, one of the other companies that I worked with, they sold air conditioners.
Okay.
Um, they were in a small country town in Australia. They were in the middle of the Hunter Valley, which is very similar to the Napa Valley. It was very wine country. Um, the whole town had a population of 5,000, but there was a few big, towns, mini cities around them. And instead of saying, we're air conditioners, they were the coal fields, which is where they were, air and climate control specialist.
Oh.
And we set up a visual blueprint. So yeah, we look at this when we determine what type of air conditioner. We look at this. We look at this. The usage, the technology. Whether it's a split, whether it's a ducted, all of those sorts of things. And then there were some other services around the outside. Now, what their funnel flow was, and it was very typical, a call would come in or an inquiry would come in. If they didn't answer the phone straight away,
Mm.
then they would get that email. Hey, Brendan here from Coalfields Climate Control. Saw this come through. We're looking at what you're. Hey, let's book in for a quick chat. I'm going to come out. We're going to go through. We're going to be able to ideal set up this, do this, do this. Looking forward to. So they already had a relationship with Brendan, the owner, before they walked in the front door. Now, instead of walking through the front door with a catalog, a brochure, and a price list, that's what everybody walks through the front door. You wave your hands, yeah? I know you don't do it, but I'm sure you know other people that do it. Yeah, a catalog, yeah, and a price list. And say, oh, yeah, you can buy this one for this much, you can buy this one for this much. They walk through the door and say, hey, Lois, great to meet you. And she's, oh, fantastic. Love the video. Hi, Brendan. How are you? Would like a cup of tea because they've got a relationship. So look, we're a little different to most. We've actually got a complete system to understand how you want to live in the rooms that we want to air condition and what you want to do. And then we'll actually decide which is the best one for you. Does that make sense? Yeah, great. Well, here's our system. Here's our blueprint for you to live better. What do people want an air conditioner for? What do people want your services for? What do people want their tap fixed, their plumbing fixed, their whatever, their EV chargers done? They don't want it. They don't want what you deliver. They want the result of what you deliver. So that's the big thing there. It's like, well, he walked through the door. He's like, I'm not here. Let's just understand how you want to live. No one's asked me that before. It's good. Yeah. And they did it. Then he pulled out his catalog and a price list, and they were already sold. And it's like, yeah, great. He sent me a note in the middle of COVID during winter. They smashed their best month by 40%, and they broke through the $1 million barrier for a tiny little town
Mhm.
as an air conditioning specialist, beating all the big guys. And that's one of the biggest things is like, well, how do we really do this? And ideally, you've got your pen and your paper ready. Okay, this is training. If you want to pause it and go and get it, if you want to pause it and go and get a cuppa, I'm going to throw some stuff at you in a minute. So, most people, now I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
No one's
In
looking. Look
general.
over your shoulder. No one's looking. It's a pre-recorded. It's like, wave to me if you've ever heard this. I need to think about it. Have you? Have you? Okay. We got two parts to the brain. There's the logical and conscious, and then there's the subconscious. Now, the logical and conscious is what people are reacting to when you're giving them a lot of really good facts. Here's why I'm good. Here's what we can do. And here's why you should buy from us. Most people will tell you find a problem, solve it, offer a solution. No. Okay. Because then you just get into pitch mode. And what that is doing is getting into the logical. You're giving them all the good reasons why they should buy from you. And that sounds all right. However, 73% of people in a buying discussion do not want to make the decision there and then. Reason, they're getting hit with all the facts. The conscious brain only assimilates 40 bits of information per second. It can't keep up. And the brain is saying, I've got to go away and digest all this and I'll think about it. However, when you start getting into the subconscious, which is, the storytelling. What would be if we did this? Get them to think about the future, get them to understand what the pain is they're going through. And I'm about to give you the formula right now. All of that. What would it be like for you right now if you were excited about every sales call? If you knew that you had a formula that at the end, most of the people will say, this is fantastic. How do we get started? What are you going to do waking up of a morning not saying, oh, geez, I got these stupid sales calls. I just feel icky about them versus, oh my God, I've got an opportunity to help more people. I can't wait for them to say, let's go. How do we get started? So there are 4 understands. 4. How many times have you caught yourself or heard somebody say, if they just understood what I did, they'd buy from me? If they just understood why I was better, if they just understood. No, 47.5% of people who do enter a buying discussion don't know their real problem. They know their symptoms, but they don't know the problem. You take a doctor's surgery, they are the best salespeople on the planet and they've never been taught sales. They have a room full of people with symptoms. They don't have a room full of people that are going to go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, I've got rhinocyanovirus and I need 2 scripts of amoxicillin antibiotics, please. Can you give them to me? It's like, no, I've got a sore throat. I've got a runny nose. I've got a damn headache and I can't sleep. Fix it. So your people are coming to you with symptoms. And what you need to do is help them understand what the real problem is. And there's a series of questions that you go through. You can ask them, how's that affecting this? And how's that affecting this, et cetera, et cetera. And you work with them and guide them through them understanding the real cost, financial, emotive, or practical, the real cost to them of what the problem is. Now, as you're doing that, you're being invited in. You're helping them understand. It's like, wow, now I really get what it is. And when they understand the real cost, then the real cost of doing nothing about it, you've virtually got the sale. So that's the first understand, helping them understand what the real cost is. Now, the second understand virtually comes from that, is that they understand that you understand them. You want them to get to the point, oh, finally, somebody who gets me. Finally, somebody who's listening to me and gets me. This is great. So when you get to that point, it's fantastic. Now, the next understand is the understand what you deliver. Not what you do, but what you deliver. What is, and get your pen ready, the agreed implementable value, AIV. If I pay you this money, I'm going to get this happening for me. I'm going to get this value. I've got to get my charger fixed up. I'm going to get my air conditioner. I'm going to get my toilet. I'm going to get all of these different services done. And what does that really mean to me? They're not buying the number of hours that it takes you to do it. They're buying the opportunity to live better because of what you've done. And that's the agreed implementable value. What would it mean to you if, bang, this? And then the last thing, they quite often don't need to know it, how you do what you do. How many times do you go to the dentist and say, before we get going, dentist, can you just give me the outline of the type of drill or laser that you're using, and the revolutions per minute that it's doing, and what sort of Novocaine are you going to give me here, and what are you going to do this here? No, you're just going to walk in and say, stuffed, get my toothache gone, will you? You don't need to know. So when you get through the first 3 understands and they understand the true implementable value that you are going to deliver them and the value of the result of them living better because of what you do, that's what you're really selling. Now, when you turn your marketing, you turn your conversations around, and you may have some unique systems that you use, then that's the big thing. The glass balustrade guys, their unique system was, hey, we're your partners in setting this up. They had video training on how to set up every pool fence, every glass balustrade. And they say, hey, listen, we're a little different to most. We've got a whole training program. When you buy your stuff from us, hold up the sheet, there's going to be a QR code in there. scan the QR code, take your phone out by the pool, and we're going to guide you step by step on how to build this. We're your partners in building this versus I sell a box of glass and nuts and bolts. So, I mean, that's taken a real big boomerang, Aussie term, around. How's that going with you guys so far?
That's a lot. I mean, it really changes the whole perspective on just beginning your sales presentation. I mean, it's just a completely different direction that I am used to receiving and also, hearing. And I'll be honest with you, I think I'm guilty of that too.
We all slip into it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give two more real, I believe they're gems, but anyhow,
Okay.
I there was a 3 weeks ago, I started with a technology. What was their old terminology? They sorted out data. They were a data service provider. They data analysts, basically data analysts and data engineers, really brown box.
Mhm.
Um, and like typical, they would ask the first question. So, what are your biggest pains right now? What are the three biggest pains? What's holding you back right now? Now, that's something we don't use because
Mhm.
that just goes down the rabbit hole. That just goes down, here's my pain, here's my pain, here's my pain. And you, as the service provider or somebody that's going to solve it, then has to say, yeah, I can fix that. Yes, I can do that. So you're coming in after the fact. This is direct from my high level sales coaching. So if you want to use this, it's got three parts and I'll take you through it. The opening question is, hey, Lois, from what you've seen so far, what do you think I can best help you with? And what sort of an impact would that make? Three parts. From what you've seen so far, somebody's always seen something. They've either been referred to you, they've clicked on your website, you've met at a networking event, they've seen something
Mhm.
of value that matches their pain. They always have a pain, otherwise, they're not just catching up for coffee. And so you ask them to go back into their subconscious. You've opened up the subconscious the minute that you start talking to them. From what you've seen so far, what do you think I can best help you with? So they're searching now. What are the good things that they think you as the solution? So they're now already thinking about you as the solution.
Mhm.
What do you think I can best help you with? Okay, well, I think you could best help me with this because I read this and somebody said this. Or yeah, I've got an idea that you might be able to do this for me. So they're already starting to think that, yes, you are the solution. Changes the dynamics of the first part of the sales conversation. And then what sort of an impact would that make? Well, I've got this, this, and this problem. And you can start helping with the understands, the four understands we just spoke about. And if you could fix that, here's the results that I would be looking for. Now, what they've done is they've just given you a shopping list to sell to. So, oh my God, it doesn't get any easier.
Which on the other direction, the way you started, it was like you were getting them to like, what are your pain points? You were getting them like drug into like their own like pain and their own like, ill, like, getting them into that negative feeling, I feel.
Yeah, you're already start on the same side as them instead of across. It's a typical sales conversation. And if you ask a typical sales question at the beginning of it, it's a typical sales conversation. And basically, what that is, I'm going to sit on my hands. My wallet's in the other room. You better do your best.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, let's collaborate together. That doesn't mean that you don't work with them to really uncover what the deep pain is. Yeah, we talk about the emotive sales pendulum, and you pull the pendulum up to the pain side and you let it swing up to the
Mhm.
payoff side. But that could be another day. But that's the biggest thing, how you best start. If you start with that question and then flow into helping, once they've said two or three things, then you help them understand the real problem, the real pain, and the real cost. Now, there's the COI and the ROI. The COI is cost of inaction versus the return of investment. And you swing it back the other way. Now, the other thing that I hear over and over and over again is people use that dreaded term, discovery call. Hey, let's get on a discovery call. What are you going to discover? I know where I am. I don't need discovering. I'm not lost. I might have problems. Discovery call is used by every man and his dog to book a call to try and sell to you.
It's more like, let me discover what's in your wallet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me discover your credit card numbers. So the best thing that you can do is pick a high value outcome on that call. Now, I use prominence and persuasion call. And by the way, if you have any questions, thoughts, or would like to contact me, the link to book a call with me, a discovery call so I can get your credit. No, no. It's a prominence and persuasion. The two things that we're going to do is prominence. How do you stand out in the marketplace? Are you different? And persuasion. What's your sales process? Do you have a good sales process? So if anybody wants to, me to run an eye over of how you're standing out and what's your sales process, happy to do it. And the link will be floating around here somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be down below.
yep. Okay. Down below.
Down below.
So, yeah. Yeah. What is it that you, mine is a prominence and persuasion. Before, when I was just doing authority marketing only, it was authority unpack. Yeah, we would unpack your authority positioning and rebuild, et cetera, et cetera. There was perceived value that you're going to walk away with from the call. What is the perceived value of people working with you or having that first call? Now, the perceived value of going to the doctor is ideally he's going to find out what's wrong and give you a recommendation. Now, the thing with the doctors is they have a set procedure. They go through a complete diagnosis and ask you all of these different questions, check your charts and all of those sorts of things. And then they will recommend a treatment procedure for whatever it is. And they would tell you your alternative of not taking it is this. It's not pushy. How many times have you walked out of the doctor and said, that bastard just tried to sell me pills that would save my life? How dare he? He was pushy. No, I'm offering you a solution that will make a difference. And here's the alternative. When you work and collaborate with them and confirm, so that if we were to do this and put this into your, now I'm going to give you, I got time. I get 4 things. Write down this. ISQC. ISQC. Here is the structure of a conversation, whether it's networking, whether it's podcasting, whether it's a sales one-on-one. This is the flow. Information. Somebody said they've got a problem. You've asked the questions. And from what it is that you do or products that you have, here is a solution. You give a quick nugget of information about the solution. And then, oh, by that right, that reminds me, somebody that we work with, just like you, we did this, this, and this, and we got these sorts of results. Are they the sorts of results you're looking for? Story. You've done it for somebody else. Now I see how it works. Yeah, I'd love that. Well, if we were to do this, what would that mean to you? Now, depending on what your business is and what you're doing for people, for mine, it would be, well, if we were to do this on a monthly basis, what would that mean to you? And we'd calculate. So that's information, story, quantify. Quantify the agreed implementable value results that you've both worked on and agreed to, that if we did this, do you think we could do this with these results? Yes. I think that would work. And then confirm. Would that be a priority of yours to work on? Is that something you want to work on right now? And you collect that. And then also, if you want to take it the next step, so if we were to help get you an extra 4 clients per month, and save time with that extra cash flow and extra time off, what would that mean to you and potentially your family? So then you're getting the results into the subconscious. It's like, well, if I got extra cash flow and I got extra time off, I'd be able to do this and I'd be able to do that. And you try and narrow it down to something that's fairly specific. And let's say, wow, you'd be able to take some time off, take the kids on a holiday. Where would you want to go? You know, Disneyland, great. What sort of rides would you want to go on? Fantastic, great. And then you'd get to another spot that they said, yeah, well, I had problems with this. Well, if we were to do this and we uncovered it, and this is the cost, this is the real, but if we were to do this, oh, just like somebody we work with, story, another bit. Yeah. Now, if we worked on that part of your business, similar to Fred and Mary, what sort of results could we generate with you? Just let's work it out. Quantify, confirm, and say, now can you see how we're going to get that trip to Disneyland a little bit quicker?
Yeah.
And that's just stirring up the subconscious. Okay. So when you do that and you're just having the conversation, depending on what it is, it might do one or two or three times or not. It's the ISQC. Give them some information. Tell them somebody that you've worked with. That's social proof, but it also helps them believe that you've done it and help them believe that they could do it. And that's important. Quantify. Well, if I'm going to give you this money and I'm going to get this money back, that's going to be worthwhile, or this value back, whatever it is, and confirm. Every time you get them to confirm, they're taking away the I need to think about it.
Mhm.
It's like, well, you don't need to think about it because we've just worked it out and you've just said yes. And at the end, you just do the quick wrap up and say, look, from what you've said, if we were to do this, this, and this, we would be able to do what you're after. And here is the quantifiable results. Should we get started on this sooner rather than later? That's it. That's the whole, they've got the numbers, they've got the emotion, they've got everything lined up in front of them. And quite often they'll basically stop and say, fantastic, how do we get started? So by taking the approach of understanding and using the ISQC and selling only the agreed implementable value, not the hours that you do, not all of those sorts of things. What are they going to walk away with when they work with you? Not what are you going to do to deliver what they want? Because nobody cares whether it's going to take you 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks. Give me the pill, give it to me now. Get rid of my toothache.
That was definitely a gem. Was for sure. So, any closing thoughts?
Well, the biggest thing is listen to this a few times and make notes. And as you're going through, think about what are the pains, what are the main things that people come to you for? What's the unique thing that you do? And if you don't know, go back and watch, listen, read some of your best testimonials that you've got. Now, the interesting thing about that, it's what you do well in the words of your clients.
Hmm.
And that's the big thing. That's what they believe that they're paying the most for, not your hours and consulting or services. It's what they're saying is what they're believing. So start with that and really work on on the premise of the value that you deliver more than just the boxes of nuts and bolts.
That's
Now,
great.
without knowing all of you, um, I've tried to be as specific yet as generic as possible, but they're the frameworks that do work right across the board.
Hey, Giants, I hope that you're enjoying this episode and that you'll stick around and watch this episode, whichever side it's on. Oh, that's great. So, like I said, below will be a link to you can schedule a call with Steve, and I would really encourage you to do that because there's so much wealth of information here. He's just really great. Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing with our Giants.
You're most welcome. And I'm really looking forward to finding a place where I can just keep hearing the results that they're getting through your program. So, well done on what you're doing with them and for them, and for pulling people like me. And I know you've got some other great experts in there as well, but for being able to pull in all of the people to be able to create an awesome program, I congratulate you on what you're doing. And for you, Giants, you're in good hands, and I'm looking forward to hearing some fantastic results.
Oh, thank you, Steve. All right, Giants. See you next time.